Hey everyone. So today I decided to do something a little bit different. Um, so you might notice I'm on D&D Beyond. Um, I am going to, this will probably be a pretty quick stream. I'm going to go through the process of making a D&D character through D&D Beyond, and with this dice roller, it's just wizards.com D&D dice. I usually just use normal dice, but I can't do that while streaming, so I'm using a dice roller on here. Um, but definitely just thought I'd go through the motions a little bit, show you guys how to make a character on D&D Beyond. It's pretty straightforward. The hardest part is that there's a lot of choices. Um, so I sort of narrowed that down for myself a little bit already. I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going through the motions of exactly rolling the dice and making my decisions from there. Um, but D&D Beyond is really great. It pretty much walks you through the whole process. There's even a spot where you can make like a quick character and it'll just randomize everything for you. So yeah, it's really great and customizable, especially depending on your experience level. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started here. So this is the first page. It really depends on your DM and your group. Um, what choices you choose. You won't always have all of these choices here. That depends on the books that your group has access to. Um, you have to have a link from someone that has bought books. So we bought the books. My husband sent me a link so that I could have access to them. So, yeah, you won't always have all the same options. We just, yeah, we got all the books, so we have more options than normal. But even without buying all of that stuff, you still have a few options, and it can be pretty useful. Um, so we just decided all of this beforehand. Our DM sent it to me, and I just went in and put everything in. So these are the books that we're using, just not the Rick and Morty content. I haven't really looked into that any, but I've heard it's a little weird, so we don't usually use it. Um, Dice rolling that allows you to do digital dice rolling through the computer that has its own roller. So you can either choose to use it or not use it. It's up to you. And then there's optional features depending on the class that you choose and everything. Um, you can either use those or not use those. And then XP, you can either go based by milestone or by uh, XP. I mean, for leveling, I'm sorry, it's leveling. You can either go by milestone or by XP. Um, we're doing milestones in this case. Hit point type is either you can manually enter it or it can be a fixed type so that every time you level, you get the same amount of hit points. Or if you do manual, you roll every time and you can either get a higher number or a lower number. So I like to do manual personally. It gives me a little bit more variation. I have a choice, I have a chance to get higher hit points that way. I could also get lower. It depends on how I roll. Um, the fixed one is really just an average, so it averages out how much you get each time and adds it that way. You can use prerequisites, so based on like your feats and multi-class requirements. Um, that's something we pretty much always use. And that's doesn't really matter. You can display higher level spells with that, um, using like If you have a second level spell and want to cast at a third level, this will show it to you that way. That's all that's really saying. Um, Otherwise, if you just do, a second, if you have a second level spell, it'll only show you it at second level, even though you can cast it at higher levels. So that's what that option is. Um, Encumbrance type, you can use encumbrance. If you're carrying so many things and you really can't be carrying that much, then D&D will tell you, or D&D Beyond will tell you. It again, that depends on your group and your DM. If your DM's like, I really don't care, you can just click no encumbrance and it won't calculate it for you. Or if you want to calculate it yourself, that's fine too. Um, Sometimes coins will count against how much you carry, other times they won't. So that's what this option is. You can turn on or off. We have it on. We're just ignoring the coin weight. It doesn't really matter, especially since this is just for a one shot. This is just for the display. When you get to your character sheet, you can choose where you want everything to show. And then you can choose if you want your character to be public so that other people can see it, or private so that only you can see it. Um, I'm still not sure if the DM can see it when you're private. There's been some debate about that in my group. And my husband really hasn't been able to tell me one way or the other. So we just usually use it as public so that the DM can see it. All right, so this is the next page. So here are all the races based on the books that we have. If you just are if you're just using base D&D Beyond, you don't have nearly as many choices. This is just because we have all those books. I know it's pretty overwhelming. Um, Again, I did all the reading off, so I don't have to make any of those choices here. I'm not gonna like bore you guys by reading every single thing. So I decided to be a satyr for this. The base ones are like halfling, half elf, dwarf, elf, the base characters. Where is the satyr? They're in alphabetical order. So satyr. And then it just gives you a description of what each race can do, their different traits, a brief description of what the race is, and things that it increases. Like for the satyr, your charisma increases by 2 and your dex increases by 1. So I'm going to choose race, and then it'll take me to my racial traits. So it tells me what choices I need to make. Everything else is already, those are just things I automatically get. I don't have to make any choices. It's just a description of what I get. But as a reveler, I have proficiency in performance and persuasion, and I have proficiency with one musical instrument of my choice. So I get to choose an instrument from this list. What do I want? Let's see here. I think I am going to go with, this is something I forgot to look through. I may change it, but I think I'm just gonna go with bagpipes for now. And then I can speak, read, and write Common and Sylvan. So I'll go, actually I'm going to go to the Origin Manager first. So there's different things I can choose, like this replaces an ability score increase. So instead of Charisma, I can choose a different ability score to increase by 2. And instead of Dex, I can choose a different ability score to increase by 1. I think I'm going to keep the Charisma and the Dex. This replaces Reveler. So if I want, I can replace all proficiencies granted by Reveler by another proficiency of my choice. Again, I'm going to leave it the way it is. Um, and then the languages. I can choose different languages if I want instead of the ones that came with it. But again, I'm just showing this. I'm actually going to keep everything that the satyr just gives me automatically. I'll go next, the class I'm going to be, I've actually never played before because I wanted something different for this one shot. So I'm going to do a wizard this time. So again, this just shows you everything that you get. I hit add class. So I get, again, it tells me which ones I need to make choices in, which is really great because then you don't have to go through and read every single thing. I usually just double check anyway because I like knowing what my character is going to be able to do. But if you're just quickly making a character and want to go through it later, you can do that too. So the proficiencies, choose two from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. So I get a skill. Let's see. So I think I'm going to go with Insight. This character is going to be because of the school I chose for Wizard, which I will explain later. But because of that, I'm going to make her like a sort of hippie sort of character. So that's where I'm at right now. So we'll do a skill in Insight, and then which the other one do I want? Maybe do we'll do Arcana. I think we'll do Arcana. She'll know about magic, which is good. We're doing level 10 characters, so I can just choose the level from right here. Again, very great. So level 10. Here is where you manage your hit points. I like to wait until I know what my constitution score is before I do that. So I'll come back to this page after I figure that out. Because you get to add your constitution modifier to um, your hit points. So I like to know exactly what it's going to be to make sure that the number that comes up is right. Usually it is. I'm very OCD, so I like to make absolutely sure that the number it's coming up with is correct. So I am going to just cancel out of that for now and we'll come back to that later. So since I'm level 10, I get some other things that I get to choose. So my arcane tradition is going to be, like I said, the school of divination. That's my school. And then it populates the other things I get from that school. Now, the ability score improvement, I get either an ability score improvement or a feat. I usually go with a feat. Some people prefer the ability score improvement, and that's fine too. They both give you different things. So I get to choose a feat, which I actually didn't go through yet, so and decide which ones I wanted. So let me see. I think I'm just going to choose two random ones for now, and then I'll have to come back later and figure it out. But for now, we'll go with a Warcaster, which is actually really good because the Warcaster gives you the ability to do, depending on how much you know about D&D, this gives you the opportunity to make an opportunity attack while casting it. You can cast a spell as an opportunity attack, is what I should say. Um, Normally, you can't do that. So that's what this feat really allows me to do. So I think I'm actually going to keep that. And then the next ability score improvement, again, I'm going to choose a feat probably. But for the purposes of this, I'm actually going to show you guys. You can choose an ability score improvement. So maybe I have low constitution and I want something higher. So I'm just going to choose to up my con. And I can do it that way, or I can do 1 point in con and say 1 point in dex. So that's what I can do there. So I'm just going to choose those for now. I'll probably change it later, but that's just what that is. So we'll go next. This is my ability scores. So you can choose how you want to do it. You can do standard, where you get to choose. So that's where you get a certain number. And as long as you're within that, I think the number's 40, I want to say. As long as you're within that number, you get to choose what your scores are. Again, this is depending on your DM and their choice. Actually, that might be the point buy. Yeah, the point buy is how many you get 27. The standard array you get to choose. I'm not really sure actually how that works. My group always does the rolled ones. So we roll our own. But again, completely depends on your group and your DM. That's something you want to check with first before you create your character. So this is what I'm going to use my dice roller for. So we roll 7 times and we roll 4d6 each time and we drop the lowest. So the way this works, I'm going to pull up a document here so I can write it down. So pull up Word. It may tell me I need to buy it. That's fine. Blank document. Actually, you know what? I don't think it's going to let me edit that. I'll just go to Google Docs. Let me pull this up off screen. Okay, there we go. So let me roll my 4d6. You see it says d6. It's really small, I know. Let me see if I can actually zoom this in a little bit. There. All right, so d6, 4 of them roll. So here it tells me I rolled a 4, 1, 2, and 5, which is not great. But I dropped the 1 because that's the lowest. Actually, reroll ones. So I'm going to do that. But first I want to know I rolled a 4, a 2, and a 5. So I rolled a 4, a 2, and a 5. Let me reroll that 1. So over one more d6, I got a 4. So the lowest number here was a 2. Then I add those numbers together. So 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 4, that's 13. Then I do it again. So 44, or 46, I mean, roll 1, 6, 6, 4. That's really good. So 6, 6, and 4. I reroll that 1. So roll. I got a 2. So that was the lowest number. So 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 4 is 16. Or 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 6 is 16 is easier. All right, do it again. So that's 7 times. I'll drop the lowest number, which was 8. I'll just cross that out. Bear with me, I usually use Word, so I don't know where the cross out is. I guess I'll just delete it. I usually cross it out, but that's okay. So 13, 16, 15, 12, 14, and 9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that again. Um, so I'll roll 7 more times. Right, last time. Okay, drop the 2 because that's the lowest number. 11 plus 2, that's 13. And then 9 is the lowest, so I'll drop that lowest number. So then I compare the two. See which one do I think is overall better. I personally like the looks of this one better. I really don't like having a single digit. Um, if I had like an 18, that might be different. But I think this outcome was better than this one overall. So I'm going to go with these numbers and then I'm going to choose where I want to put them in here. So let me move this to the other side of the screen. I'll see it over here. So I am going to look up actually what I can do. Let me do this off screen here real quick and I'll show you a pretty cool feature that D&D Beyond has. Okay, so this is the description. You can go, if you go back to, you can go to Game Rules and it shows you all the different classes. So I'm just going to go to a wizard because that's what I am. If I go to creating a wizard, this is straight from the PHB or the player's handbook for those of you that don't know much about D&D. So it tells you like the best way to make a wizard. Um, So under the quick build, it says you make a wizard quickly by following these suggestions. First, intelligence should be your highest ability score, followed by constitution or dex. So, um, it gives you like tips. I really like that first couple of lines because it tells me what my highest score should be to make the character a little bit better. Sometimes I'll actually ignore it depending on my character development. I personally like to play more towards role playing. Other people, like my husband, like to play more towards um, making a better, well-rounded character that's actually going to perform well. It's really based on your preference and how you have fun. Um, I'm personally, like I said, like to go more towards that. How am I going to have fun with role playing this character and what makes sense for their general idea? What would make sense towards that person? But in this case, I'm actually going to make intelligence the highest, and then I think um, probably constitution will be the next highest. So let's go back to my builder here. So my highest number was a 17. So I'll put that in intelligence. And then my next highest number, I had two 16s, so I'm actually going to put that in Constitution Index, since that's what it said it needed to be highest anyway. Then my next number was a 15, so I can really choose whatever I think best here. I think for her, I'm going to make her Charisma a 15. Then I have a 13 and a 12. So I think I'll make her Wise, and then Strength will be her lowest. Honestly, I'm realizing most of my characters have really low strength. I just tend to go towards everything else and then make strength my dump stat, which should not always be the case. If I'm like making like a barbarian or something, I'll probably go towards strength. But it's just a little funny. I usually choose make it that way. Um, okay. So then down here it tells you what your total number is based on the based on any improvements you have. So I have a racial bonus, which gave me a +1, if you remember, to Dex, and then a +2 to Charisma. So that made my Dex an 18 and my Charisma is 17. So those are pretty good numbers. And then the modifier is what I add to any rolls I make. So if I roll a dexterity check because I'm trying to like say untie something, I get to add 4 to that. So those are pretty good numbers. And then I will go back because remember, I never rolled my hit points. So now that I know that my constitution modifier actually is going to be, let's see here, it is a +3. Actually, it's not going to be, well, let me double check. Yeah, either way, it's going to be a +3. No, let me go fix it. The constitution score, I'm just going to leave that blank for now. Okay. So yes, it will be a +3. So I'll go to manage HP. So each time I roll, I get a +3. At the first level, you get your maximum hit points. So my hit dice are D6. So I automatically get 6 plus that 3 constitution, which is a total of 9. That's for the first level. Then I get to roll after that. So I get 96 more onto because it's one per level. Remember, we're level 10 right now. So the first level, I automatically got that 6. Every time after that, I have to roll. Let me just double check here and make sure that I am correct about what the die is. Features. Hit points at higher level, 1d6 or 4 plus your constitution modifier per wizard level after first. So it is 6 plus 3 is 9, and then I'll roll 96. So I got 2, 3, 2, 5, 5, 4, 3, 6, and 6, which is not great, but that gives me the total. that's 36. But I get to add my 3 constitution. So that's 3 times 9 is 27. I'm going to do a quick calculation here. 27 plus 36. Honestly, you can actually just plug that in. So 27 plus 6 is 33. 27 plus 6 is 33. So it gives me 63. But I'm just going to double check the math here to make sure it's correct. So I said 9 times 3 is 27 plus that 36 that I rolled. And then plus that 9 I got from the first level. So that should actually be a total of 72. I don't know why it came back wrong. 27 plus 3 is 30, so it's going to add 30 to whatever I rolled. So I did roll 36. Okay, that's what I did wrong. It was 36, not 26. So 36. Sorry, trying to do quick math is not my forte. Okay, so because I rolled 36, I add, that's what I did. I added to the 27, not to the 36. That's what I messed up. Okay, so we'll start that over. It should be 36 plus 6 is 42, and that should fix it to 72. That's why I always double check, because sometimes my mental math skills are not as great either. Okay, so then I'll apply. So I have 72 hit points at level 10, which is not great, but I'm a wizard, so that's to be expected. They don't usually have great hit points. They aren't supposed to be melee. They should be ranged generally, just so you know. So next I am going to go, I still haven't named my character. Usually I try to come up with a fun name. I'm just going to randomize it for now. Criminar. Interesting. Okay. And she's a satyr, so it should automatically pull up some satyr portraits. So I really like this one for like the hippie sort of theme, so I'm just going to keep that one. Then I get to choose a background. So for this one, I'm going to choose a charlatan. Again, there's a lot of choices. I read off camera so that I didn't have to bore you guys with it. Um, this gives her deception, sleight of hand, disguise kit, and a forgery kit. And she gets a false identity as her background feature. Then it gives you like suggested characteristics and details and everything. I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. Again, it's a one shot. Usually I put a little more thought into my characters, but for this one shot, I'm probably going to come up with the stuff later, but for now, since we're just creating the basics, I'm just going to ignore those spots. So the next is the last screen. You can either choose equipment or gold to start with. Um, our DM told us we have to choose equipment. That's usually what I go with anyway. I'd rather go with the base stuff than have to take the gold and try to figure out what all I can buy with it. It's a lot of hassle. So I'm just going to choose the starting equipment. So this tells me I get either a quarterstaff or a dagger to start with. I think I'm going to choose a quarterstaff. And then I get a component pouch or an arcane focus. I think I'm going to choose the arcane focus, a crystal orb, rod, staff, wand, or focus. I think I'm going to go with the crystal, like I'm hoping like a crystal ball. It's either that or an orb. I think I'm just going to go with the crystal. And then I get a scholar's pack or an explorer's pack. probably the Scholars Pack. It tells you what each one has when you click on it. I'm going to go with the Scholars Pack in this case. And then I get a spell book. Then, so that was for my class, my being a wizard. Then for a charlatan, that's for my background, you get an extra bump there. So I get a set of fine clothes automatically and a disguise kit. Then I get to choose one of these. 10 stoppered bottles filled with colored liquid, a set of weighted dice, a deck of marked cards, or a signet ring of an imaginary duke. Hmm. I think I'm going to go with the stoppered bottles filled with colored liquid. And then I get a pouch containing 15 gold pieces as well. Then I'll just click add starting equipment and it adds all of that to my inventory. There was one thing I forgot. If we go back to class, there's the optional manager, feature manager. This is just an additional feature I get. Oh, why did it do? Now it crashed. Let me go back. Well, I don't know why it just crashed. So this is the character sheet. From here, you can go back to the editor by going to manage and then manage character and levels. This is also great for when you're leveling up. It helps you, guides you through the leveling up process as well. Let me see here. Okay, so there's the additional features. I get additional wizard spells and cantrip formulas. Unlike the other ones, this is just an additional feature. It doesn't take the place of anything. So I just get to add that. It was just added with another book that we had. So then I get spells. So if I hit add spells, it tells me how many spells I can have prepared and how many spells or how many cantrips I can have. So I would go through and choose all of these. For now, I'm just going to choose a couple. I think I'll go with Acid Splash. So I'll just click Learn, and it'll add it, and that'll say 1 out of 5. Then I'll go with, and you can pull it down. It'll tell you what all it does and everything, and what you need for it. I'll just click Learn for that one too. All right. And then I would go through and you can choose like different levels and everything to add and take away. I would just go through and add until all of those are done. So next, and then yeah, I'll just click. Oh, I can click use here for my backpack, and it will use and wield for the quarterstaff, and it'll wield so that it will actually show up in my in the correct spots on my character sheet for when I go to attack and that sort of thing. I'll just click next. And then I can either export to a PDF if I want to print it, for example, or use it in a different way, save it somewhere else. Or I can just view the character sheet, which is what I usually do. I'll view the character sheet, then okay. And then this is what the character sheet looks like. And you get to go through and see everything and your description and all of that and notes, anything you have. So yeah, that's the basics of creating a character on D&D Beyond. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Like and subscribe, follow. Those are always much appreciated. Thank you again for watching and have a great day. Bye.